Hey there, StarCraft fans. It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today, it's going to be a ZVZ between ZhuGeLiang and Lambo here on Kairos Junction, the latter edition. This was selected by my screener Sniper Monkey as one of the best replays from Asus Rogue Summer 19. Alright, so that's out of the way. This is going to be an incredible ZVZ. Alright, so bottom right-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player. Hailing from Germany, it is Lambo. And in the top left-hand corner, it is the Finnish Zerg player. He's blue ZhuGeLiang. Actually named himself after ZhuGeLiang, a famous Chinese military strategist and a politician who served as the Chancellor of Shuhan during the Three Kingdoms era of Chinese history. He is recognized as a symbol of intelligence in Chinese culture. So that's where the name came from. Yeah, great player here. So ZVZ, we got Germany versus Finland here going at each other. Both players doing the darn near exact same build here, going for a hatch. Waiting a bit here, about 18 supply here for ZhuGeLiang. Lambo is at 17 and going to throw it on his pool. ZhuGeLiang goes for gas first, and then the gas is finally taken up by Lambo here. So slight differences, but basically the same build here. We're looking at a pool timing that's a micro of a fraction faster than Lambo's. So we're looking to be set up for something of a macro style rather, of ZVZ, where the players are not going for something super duper aggressive. 12 pools are fairly standard to get those lings out fast and shut down your opponent if they went hatch first. But in this case, where another player is doing that, there's nothing to slow down the incredible droning that will happen here in the next couple of minutes. Overlord scouting is incredibly important here too, as if you can see if there are lings moving across the map, you can do something about it. But if you don't see anything moving across the map, you're free to drone up a whole bunch. And then just make your units when you need them, which is, again, how Zerg play in other matchups too, but especially important in ZVZ, where lings are very fast, and if you don't see a ling flood coming at you, and you're not quite prepared for it, you just die, which is a way that I've won games and a way that I've lost games in ZVZ too. Just the nature of the matchup, it turns out. So, what are we doing? Overlord pokes in, sees the timing on the hatch, see there's not a queen here, same story for Lambo. Again, these players are doing the exact same darn thing. Speed gets started for Lambo. I assume ZhuGeLiang's is going to begin here. Now that he has 100 gas, and we're waiting on it. We're waiting on your speed. You do not want to skip speed in ZVZ, man. He only has one worker on gas, but he's not doing anything with 100 gas that he has right now. This is just going to be a straight up roach play. He's just like, you know what? Screw Zerglings. I'm not bothering with it. I'm going to use this gas to go for a lair when I have 150, I suppose. What are we looking at here? Two on gas now. He needs a little bit faster. Third base on the way from Lambo. And 48. And it is, okay, fair enough. It is going to be a Roach Warren here. So he's going right into Roach. Screw Zerglings. He'll never need them, I guess. Fair enough, I suppose. And throwing up his own Roach Warren. Down on the other side here is Lambo. So both players walling off their naturals. Third base pretty darn exposed from Lambo, though, which the Overlord does see, by the way. And if you had Speedlings, you might be able to punish that a little bit. But as it stands, no. ZhuGeLiang's like, well, I'm going to be on two bases for some time. I'm starting my lair. Which is something Lambo's not quite able to do here, just because, again, he is droning up pretty hard. He is sitting at, well, 32 workers to 34. So he's actually down a tiny bit now that I'm looking at the actual numbers here. But taking that third base, slow down his economy a little bit, but will pay off dividends in the next couple of minutes here. So nothing too crazy yet. Really just walling off. Only some level here. You don't have to wall off if you're Lambo because you recognize the extreme commitment to roaches that ZhuGeLiang is going for. Yeah, I mean, the lings can't do anything with the queens in the wall. If there were, like, banelings you were worried about, maybe banelings could crush through there and cause you some problems. But Lambo doesn't have a baneling nest. So all he's got back home is the Roach Warren, and as a result, lings are not breaking through this wall anytime soon. Roaches are being produced to assist making the wall even sturdier. Creep tumors do get picked off and not replaced. That's annoying. That's really annoying for ZhuGeLiang there, not to have that creep spread anymore. But not much you can do about it because there's lings sitting here waiting for those tumors to come out. Clear Reconstitution on the way. Ling's trying to go for that surround, but again, 3 queens here with transfuses available and some roaches and a couple lings in the mix too. It's just not going to happen. You're not getting through this with this number of Zerglings at all. Overseer coming in here just to escape the queen who's stabbing him. Seems pretty smart. And yeah, there's your lair timing from Lambo too. So speed is going to be done here for ZhuGeLiang way faster than Lambo. Lambo's roaches will not have speed for some time after the roaches of ZhuGeLiang have them. Throwing away some Zerglings here unnecessarily. A little bit sloppy there from Lambo. Not what we would expect from the Zerg player, but not so much that it's game-altering or game-losing there. So, I mean, the fact that there's not a third base from ZhuGeLiang here is a problem. It's going to be a 3-basing Zerg versus a 2-basing Zerg, and the Ling trying to go for the scout. Nope, too many roaches. Shut it absolutely down. This feels like a bit of a Nidus play, maybe, from ZhuGeLiang, but at the same time, he is setting up for a third base, too, so maybe not. Maybe we're not going to see it. He's just going to take a late third base. His speed will be faster. His upgrades will be faster. But when this thing gets saturated, Lambo's going to max out real fast, man. Like, I'm worried about your future here. Your third base is so very, very late comparatively. Speed's done for your roaches, which is nice. But I think you need to hit with them now, and he is. He's doing a creep highway, which is beautiful. Bringing the queens across the map is such a nice thing to see here. The creep highway not quite as extensive as I'd like it to be, but it does help the queens get here a little bit more quickly than they otherwise would, and that's what really matters here. That Overlord, I think, was probably planning on helping with that, but it was forced to turn into an Overseer instead. So here we go. Roach's Ravagers ready to rock. Getting on in. Nice concave here from Lambo. Everybody attacking, though, from ZhuGeLiang, though, so it doesn't matter as much. But by golly, that looks really bad for the blue Zerg player. That said, Transfuse is available on the offense, which is not something you see all the time. And roaches continuing to flood across here. 4 roaches in production for ZhuGeLiang. 8 for Lambo, though. And this is an incredibly tight roach battle. Who's going to win this thing? Trying to take down the Ravager. The roaches move in to be concaved and surrounded here. Roaches falling for Lambo. 1, 2, and 3 down in very short order. Army supply 45 to 46. 6 is incredibly close. Here, losing some drones in base defenses. Lambo, his third base, is effectively not doing anything for him right now. The 2-base to 2-base is actually favoring ZhuGeLiang here, because again, the speed for the roaches means they can kite a little bit better. Not that they are kiting all that much, but these queens, man, doing work. 4 kills and 5 kills on these dudes. The transfuses are incredible. Only 1 queen here from Lambo, and by golly, I don't know, man. Defender's advantage is going to help Lambo here to quite some extent, but ZhuGeLiang gets his third base back home. The third base of Lambo is not doing anything. Roaches are coming in 3, 4, 5 at a time here in an absolute non-stop roach versus roach battle, and every time it seems like Lambo has the upper hand, ZhuGeLiang just keeps getting more and more reinforcing roaches in here. He does have not an upgrade advantage. I lied. It is +1 attack on each of these dudes. ZhuGeLiang decides it's probably time to end it. No, you know what? He's standing in. He's focusing on these roaches. Lambo stutter stepping onto the roaches, which usually indicates you're going to win this thing. But reinforcing units continuing to come out from the blue Zerg player, and Lambo's forced to retreat again. He is making more and more roaches. This queen decides to pull back for some reason. I'm not sure where she's trying to go. She's probably going to get sniped off, but nope. Pulls back just in time. 52 to 32 army supplies. ZhuGeLiang is way in the lead right now. He's managed to saturate his third base, whereas Lambo's third base is bringing him no income whatsoever. 10 roaches in production for the blue Zerg player and 6 roaches in production for the red Zerg player. And I think the third base is going to go down, and I think Lambo might just lose this game based on the trajectory of what we're looking at right now. +2 attack is finishing up for ZhuGeLiang too, and again, where you have a fairly similar army count, that upgrade is going to be a big deal. I don't know if he has time to wait for it to come in. Might maybe pulling back and waiting these additional 30 seconds. But that does allow Lambo some time to maybe saturate his third base a little bit, if at all possible. But man, 75 to 45 army supply, 53 to 41 army supply is just brutal for Lambo to try to come back from here. The Finnish Zerg player seems like he's got an upper hand here. He's making a Ravager in the mix here. Missile attack level 2 is done, and I think it's time to go. It is time to move out across the map. He's keeping his injects perfectly. He's working on ground carapace at the same time, and this just feels like a death blow for Lambo. 83 to 59 army supply, upgrade advantage to ZhuGeLiang here. And here he goes. Again, Ravager, 1 Ravager in the mix for both of these armies, which is kind of weird, but the +2 here, in addition to the army overall supply being in favor of the Zerg player, that surround, bam! ZhuGeLiang ends up getting the win in 9 minutes and 4 seconds of our sneaky twofer. That's right, it's a sneaky twofer here today. That really intense battle went on for some time from ZhuGeLiang. And again, the upgrades helped him a lot. The fact he is able to get his third base up and saturate it while denying the third base of Lambo is incredibly important too. And yeah, those are the 2 things. The 2 ingredients that he had was upgrades and having a third base that he actually was able to take advantage of. Lambo was not able to. And in the end, that is a win for Finland. 76 roaches died for the red Zerg player. Only 50 down. That's a major advantage for the blue Zerg player, ZhuGeLiang. All right, so let's go to game number 2 of the sneaky twofer And we'll see if we can tie it up here with Lambo, or if in fact it's just going to be a quick 2-0 for the Blue Zerg player or not. We'll be right back. Sneaky Twofer will continue on Acropolis, the latter edition. Top left, we've got Lambo. Bottom right, we've got ZhuGeLiang. All right, good stuff here. Did you see the voting for Nation Wars? Did the players from your country get in? Did they get voted in? Let me know in the comments if you have any disappointments for how the voting went in your country. I am not disappointed how the voting went in the United States. M. Canning, Neeb, Future of Terran, and, oh, I'm forgetting someone. Puck. Puck is the other guy. So, a lot of Protoss and Terran representation. And just one day we shall get a Zerg. We shall get a Zerg worthy of the United States Zerg player crown. I understand Scarlet is Canadian, and she's very close to the United States, and kind of counts in an NA sort of way, but one day, I believe in the North American United States scene. Okay, what's going on here? Again, it's just early ZVZ. Hatch first seems to be the style of play here thus far. Nobody seems worried about the other player going for a 12 pool and making them pull drones off the line to try to save the hatch, etc., etc. Pretty strong build is actually 12 pool. You make 6 lings, and then you just rush roaches after that, and then you just pump roaches. Fairly strong. I've died to it before, that's for sure. I need to find an actual build for it, though, because when I tried it, it doesn't work as well. I'm not sure if that's because I'm just bad. But, yar. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Both players doing the exact same thing again? You don't say. You don't say. It's the exact same thing again. Again, slight differences here in the build orders, but if you look up at the production tab, it's pretty much the darn same thing. Overlords here in positions to see if there are lings cruising across the map to try to murder everybody in sight, because that's what lings will do. Lings are happy puppies, but they will murder you to death if allowed to do so, and I think generally they are allowed to do so, because who's gonna tell them no, huh? You? Not you. Zerglings are scary, man. They'll eat your face right off. And if they're Carbot Zerglings, they'll be happy doing it. Because they are. Anyway, speed coming in from Lambo again. Once again, ZhuGeLiang seems to have deigned speed unimportant. I guess he doesn't have the gas quite for it yet, so he could just be waiting on it. Once again, the one worker on the gas indicates he's not super worried about getting it fast, though. And that's the problem with the game number 1, I think, too, for Lambo, is he made a bunch of lings that didn't do anything, right? They didn't kill anything. They didn't really get any good scouting off. Lambo's going for a quick third base once again. And we can't see the same game, can we? This can't be the exact same thing. Lambo's got to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, he's got some lings trying to deny a third base, but I'm not sure that ZhuGeLiang is interested in going for a third base here. He wasn't in game 1, that's for sure. Ling's going for the scout, and this time they do successfully get all 4 lings into the main somehow. Wow, I thought one of them would die, but no. Not at all. They're going to fight ya, and then drones are going to fight, and all of the red lings are dead. So they scouted what they'd scout. A lack of a lair. They scouted a lack of speed coming up. They didn't see the spawning pool shimmering in a way that indicates it is upgrading. And they didn't see a roach warren or baneling nest. So definitely, at this point, it's going to be roaches. Lambo doing the same thing, but once again, just trying to cheat out an early third base, which ZhuGeLiang cannot punish because he doesn't have the doesn't have the speedlings to do it. He's not going to have roaches for some time. They're not going to have speed anyway. Look at these queens moving out on the map. They're like, we got this. We're going to kill this overlord. 2 queens stabbing away. Pretty good anti-air. Some of the best anti-air in the game is queen stabs. And ZhuGeLiang actually goes for a third base earlier than we saw in game number 1. So maybe he's just trying to do the same thing with maybe a little bit less of a razor-thin edge in winning versus losing. Dude, that overlord... No! That overlord does not need to escape. It's garbage. Ling's going for the scout and stopping to fight for a little bit for some reason, which allows the queen to kill it, which allows the lair timing to be a mystery to ZhuGeLiang there. So Lambo, I don't know. Keeping that information away is pretty good stuff. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty much, again, the same build this time around, more so than in game number 1. Feeling like lair timing looks pretty similar. The third base is done for Lambo sooner than ZhuGeLiang's is, obviously. That's a major difference that we're seeing. More ling scouting from Lambo, trying to see what they can see. But as far as I can tell, everybody's just going for roaches and ravagers, and that's all we really ever need to do in this particular game today. There will be no banelings. There will be no speedlings at all. Actually, was speed canceled? Yeah. Lambo canceled speed. He was like, I don't need speedlings if my opponent doesn't have speedlings, so whatever. And call it good here. Not even going to bother walling off both these players because they recognize there are no speedlings on the field. You don't have to. These queens are just hunting for overlords to kill, which is hilarious. They're going to try to get that one, but it's upgrading to an overseer, which makes it fast and therefore easy to run away from queens, especially if they're off creep. Put in some creep here to help the queens get there faster, which look how much the difference between on creep versus off creep for queens is like 1,000,000%. It's like you're actually speedy on creep, and off creep you are slower than a tortoise. Slower than a tortoise, I say. Anyway, Lambo gets a perfect scout off. His queen's not going to kill the overseer before it comes in. Drops the changeling to help with that scouting too. And is going to see, alright, so no quick hive, no hydralisk den. What else would be crazy at this stage of the game? No rushing 2 ultralisks and no spire. Again, if you go for a spire at this stage of the game, your opponent just maxes out on roaches and kills you. Because they scout the spire, it takes 47 million years to build. And then you're kind of waiting on your resources to make mutas, and then like 80 roaches show up and you die. That is what happens at the higher levels. That's why we don't see mutas all that much. Also, they did that thing where they changed the Spore Crawler to do bonus damage to biological air units, which one of the more genius balance changes of all time. Like, whoever had that idea should get a promotion at Blizzard, and I hope they did. Because it didn't affect ZVP or ZVT at all. It only affected ZVZ, which had turned into a giant bunch of Muta Wars back in the day. It's all you ever did was Muta versus Muta action. And then by simply making Spore Crawlers do a ton of bonus damage to things that fly and are biological, it made defending against mutas much easier, and then turned the whole matchup into a big Roach Ravager fest. Roach Ravager, maybe eventually if the game's going long enough, they can turn into a Ling Hydra lurker kind of a style thing, which is really fun. I have cast some really long ZVZs that turn into some interesting positioning with lurkers and whatnot, but not what we're seeing today, I don't think. Not so far, anyway. Going for tunneling claws. ZhuGeLiang, if you can sneak burrow roach in and burrow your roaches at the front of the battle and heal them up and then pop them up later, it can be a really nice advantage in your ZVZs. I'll tell you that much. So if you're watching this and saying, okay, I have a handle on what these players are doing, the timing makes sense, you're probably not going to see this all that much at your level of ladder. ZVZs at the platinum, diamond, gold are a lot more all-in based. A lot more Ling Baneling attacks, Ling Floods at like the 3-minute mark. It's a different place. It's stuff you don't see at the pro level. To get up to this point is it's fairly rare, I would say. I don't know, maybe not super duper rare, but not as common as you'll see at the professional level, just because everybody knows how to handle the all-ins and scout them, and they're just not as good. Ooh, Burrow Roach hit squad moving into the main base here for ZhuGeLiang. Loving that. Army supply 126 to 123 here for ZhuGeLiang, so not a major advantage, but this getting in here and getting these drones is kind of a huge deal. Or is he going to respond to this? I don't know if he's going to respond to this. That queen's going to go down. He's going to lose some injects. And then a bunch of drones are going to die, especially the ones on the gas. And that is just a major victory. 3 roaches to take down a queen. Oh, and then he burrows. Look how fast they move. Holy crap. Spreading around, trying to hide in different corners. And then just sending out the front door and saying, hey, if you send too many units to try to defend against this, you're going to die. Oh, that's such a good burrow. That's such a good burrow hide. And then these 2 guys can go back in and start killing drones if you want to. Loving it. ZhuGeLiang's up in worker count. He's down a little bit in army supply. But again, losing that queen means the injects on the main base are going to be pretty horrendous for a bit of time here. Corrosive Bile's going down. And we are looking at all of the Corrosive Biles and all of the roach attacks here. Upgrades are +2/+2 for each player. The only difference here is the burrow that ZhuGeLiang has. He is getting stomped right now, though. He is getting pushed up on. That said, we have seen Lambos push up on in situations where he's not winning necessarily. The Roach is going after more drones here inside the main base. The 2 drones going down, 3 drones going down. Again, just cutting slightly into Lambo's worker count. Worker count difference is a huge deal, especially in mirror matchups. That Burrow's speed move is really fast, but the Overseer is faster. Turns out Corrosive Biles take down 2 of the Overlords for ZhuGeLiang. Do not supply block him, but that was very potentially damaging for sure. Still hurts, right? But not a supply block is not as big deal as it otherwise could be. ZhuGeLiang is a 4th base for additional larva, which means he can make more units than Lambo can. Which means though he's down about 20 army supply, he has the defender's advantage and he has more larva available to him over time here. Lambo has to take the time to knock down this debris to allow him to attack up this ramp, because otherwise he can't. Too narrow a thing. He just actually Corrosive Bile down his own Overseer a little bit there, which is problematic. Because again, Burrow's a thing. If you lose this Overseer, the Burrow becomes really overpowered. And fighting on 2 fronts, here we go. Lambo holding on to the south here. The north actually going pretty well for Lambo too. Let's zoom out even more. So we can catch all of the StarCraft action. I'm not sure that we can. These are just two separate fronts we're fighting on right now. Absolutely insane by both of these players controlling these both. APMs are absolutely going through the roof at the same time. And we're still fighting. Lambo is up 143 to 104 supply. Defender, Roach, Ravager coming on in here, but there's the Burrow trying to heal up, but the Overseer says no. No timeouts for you, and I think this is just the army's supply plummeting for ZhuGeLiang. Down to 77, 75, 67, 65, 63, 60. Going up a little bit here as he makes 12 roaches, but there are just too many units that are red here at this stage, and I think that's it. Lambo's going to tie this thing up. Reinforcing roaches coming on in. And yeah, just trickling in for ZhuGeLiang. Drones getting absolutely massacred, and bam, good game from ZhuGeLiang, and Lambo wins it to go for a 1-1 tie, starting it out, well, finishing up our sneaky 2 for today, not starting it up at all. So yeah, Lambo making it happen there. The upgrades were beautiful. That was some good stuff. Only 8 and 9 drones lost respectively. A lot more drones going down here for ZhuGeLiang, 108 to 74, which, looking at this, upgrades were the same. Maybe somebody got +1 carapace in the middle of all that chaos. Oh yeah, Blues just finished. Okay. So yes. In that case, Lambo had +1 carapace for longer than ZhuGeLiang did, which is just a big deal. Upgrades matter a huge amount, especially in these mirror matchups, and got it in there. ZhuGeLiang tried to sneak out a 4th base, which is good for larva production, but not so good in the immediate when you need units because an attack is coming. Like, that's a lot of resources that were spent on getting that hatch down and maybe trying to drone it up a little bit. That should have been made on defending units. Also, the micro, just trying to macro over here and over here at the same time. Seemed like Lambo had a better handle on it. ZhuGeLiang did not respond correctly to the southern section. He did not have as many units as he needed, so he pulled it from the north side, and that made the north side get overwhelmed, and it was kind of a mess. That's a really hard thing to do. Like, I'm not going to tell him that I could have done better, which absolutely the case. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be it at this point from me. So thank you so much for watching yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Again, you can catch me at Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch. Thank you so much for watching again. This has been Falcon Paladin, and until next time, as always, you take care of yourself.